Hi, this is Suffrist Tosh. Little different situation here. It's no longer snowing and I'm in a t-shirt because it's so warm out here. Anyway, I'd like to talk about a couple things today. One, a fellow YouTuber inspired this thought, and it's about digital currency and your loss of freedom. And in at least according to this YouTuber, he says in 2030 we will transition to a digital currency. And for me, that's a really scary idea, because it's our last vestige of freedom that we have, I think, especially in private economy. This gives the opportunity for government to control you in another way. So, for example, when Venmo first came out, it's how I did business. And, my client would pay me through Venmo and it would be directly sent to my account. And I thought those were private transactions, but in, I think it was 2022, they now are required by the federal government to report any transaction that's over $600, so that people are forced to pay taxes on the money that they earn. And it just feels like in every facet of our lives, there's the government. When it comes to marriage, when it comes to divorce, when it comes to private transactions that you have with people in your community, there's the government right in the middle, right between us. As I'm shaking hands with the man I'm doing business with, or the woman, there's the government with a handout. Where's my part? Oh, and if you don't give me my part, I will send you to jail, or I will foreclose on your home. It's a strange world we live in, and it feels like the walls are closing in and our freedoms are being taken away left and right. I see it everywhere in society today, and it really bothers me that we are not free. We are not a free people. We do not live in a free country. We are bound by rules and regulations everywhere we go. If I want to build a fence on my property, or if I want to build a shed on my property, I have to ask permission from the government. And then once the permission is given, I have to pay the government to build on my own property. Not only that, they're going to raise the taxes assessed on the property. So now I'm being fined in every direction I turn. And I want to know what happened to my privacy. Where did my ability to live a private life unmolested from government, where did that go? Where did my freedoms go? I thought I lived in a free country. I thought growing up, we had kids in school, that would say bad things, and then somebody would get upset and then be like, dude, it's a free country, man. We can say and do whatever we want. But, I think, in 2020, when the government restrictions came down on us and they forced all the businesses to close, except for a few, and they restricted your movement, like you could not freely travel inside your own city. And then forced vaccinations on top of that. And that's when I realized that the walls are closing in and I'm not a free person. I don't have a choice like we used to have choice. It's a really scary thing. And if there's a couple books that I could recommend, or movies, depending on what your tastes are or what you prefer, I would recommend George Orwell's 1984. I would recommend V for Vendetta. I would recommend there's a ton of really good movies out there. I'll think of the rest here in a second. But it really feels like no matter where we turn, there's a fine or a rule or regulation. And I have to give credit to, I believe his channel is Appalachian something. I'll have to look it up. But he really inspired this whole conversation, because I believe in everything he was saying. Our freedoms are being taken away, and it's almost being celebrated. Like when we move to digital currency, we are being, there are people out there who are celebrating digital currency as like the greatest invention that ever came along, and how easy it's going to make our lives. But I think, I don't think it's going to go that way. I actually think that it's going to inhibit your ability to move freely and to have transactions that are private. Whatever happened to living a life of privacy without any intrusion from anybody? Why is it that if I leave a pile of lumber, if I get a delivery of lumber to the front of my house, there's a good chance that a code inspector will show up and ask me what I'm doing? That is a violation of my personal freedom, my personal liberty. I want to know where it became okay to come onto somebody's property and start asking them questions about what they're doing. And then not only that, but saying, if you do anything, you must ask our permission first. We are the government. You must ask permission before you do any building on your property. I believe code enforcement is a violation of the Fourth Amendment here in the United States. It's a violation of your right to privacy. And they use all kinds of words and jargon to try to infiltrate your home. They say it's for safety, but I don't actually believe that. I believe it's for revenue. Safety went out the door a long time ago. I don't think that they're there for a safety. And who's controlling the code enforcement of whatever township or city you live in? Do you know who controls that? It's insurance companies. Insurance companies are the ones that have created all of these laws that restrict our right to movement, to be truly free. And it's, I think, your job as a thoughtful, independent human being to vote all of this out of society. This is my property. I live here. You don't tell me how to live my life. I can live the life that I choose in whichever way I decide. If the building or structure that I build falls down and kills me, that's my fault. That's not the fault of the city. But somewhere along the line, somebody sued a city for not protecting its city. So now you have lawyers, and now you have insurance companies that are getting into our lives, and they're the ones, I believe, responsible for us not being free. All right. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you on the next video. Can you hear that? The birds are out. It's so lovely. The spring music